you cannot write the next step of this, that is square root of minus 64 into square root of minus 1. That is because
So
this
why will we
rule,
write by minus?
root AB, yes,
Why we will write by minus? Our motive is just to remove the minus from the code. No?
no, what I mean is that for any kind of manipulation, if you want to write minus, you will not be able to write for any kind of manipulation. Okay, because the condition here is that A and B both have to be positive in this. Okay, only when A and B are positive, only then we can write root AB as root A into root B. Fine. So that is another thing. Suppose, let us take another example, say root over of minus 12. Okay, square root of a negative number. I can write this as square root of 12 into minus 1, root 12 into root minus 1, and now you can prime factorize 12. So you get 2 square into 3, and root over of minus 1 can be written as iota. So this is 2 into root 3 I. Okay, so this is the way of writing negative square roots, where I is obviously root minus 1. This is how you convert numbers um, to imaginary forms. Okay, now how do you you know that I is square root of minus 1. So that means I square must be equal to, if you square both sides, I square must be equal to minus 1, right? So how do you calculate other powers? How do you calculate I cube? What you do here is you break I cube as a power of um, 2. You can write this as um, 2 into 1 plus 1, or you can write this as 2 plus 1, 2 plus 1. So you get I square into I. And what is the value of I square? Minus 1. I you write as it is. So you get minus I. Similarly, if you want to write I to the power of 4, 4 I to the power of 4 can be written as 2 into 2. So this can be written as I square square. And you know I square is minus 1. So minus 1 square. So it becomes 1. I to the power of 5. How will you write I to the power of 5? You write this as 2 into 2 plus 1. You get I square, uh, or better still, one more step. I to the power of 2 into 2 into I to the power of 1. I to the power of 2 into 2 can be written as I square square into I. I square can be written as minus 1 square into I. So that will become simply I. Okay. I to the power of 6 can be written as some power of, I first write I square and then multiply it by 3. So this becomes I square cube. That means minus 1 cube. And you know negative, the odd power of a negative number is negative. So this becomes minus 1. And similarly for other powers also you can do I to the power of 7. You can write I to the power of 7 as 2 into 3, right? Plus 1. Now this becomes I square cube into I. This becomes minus 1 cube into I. And minus 1 cube is minus 1. Minus 1 into I is minus I. In this way you calculate the higher powers. Any power in fact you can calculate. Okay. We'll see when we'll do problems how to calculate further powers of I. What about negative powers? How do you calculate negative powers? And how do you deal with fractions that contain I in the denominator? Okay. So let us see. We have
Then rational,
rational. There's nothing called rational here. Okay. There's only called
rationalize when
real and
I is in the
no
denominator.
rationalize. There's nothing called rationalize here. Okay. What we do is we multiply the
So,
numerator and denominator by I. Okay. There's nothing called rationalization. The process is similar to rationalization, but there's nothing called rationalization as such. How do we deal with negative powers of I? So let us say I have I to the power of minus 6. So what I can write here is I can write this as 1 by I to the power of 6. And then I work as usual. I to the power of 6 is now I to the power of 2 into 3. So this becomes 1 by I square cube. I square is minus 1 cube. So this is 1 by minus 1, which is minus 1. Okay. I to the power of minus 6. Suppose now I want to calculate I to the power of minus 7. Then how will I do? But before I to the power of minus 7, let me show you one more example. What if I is in the denominator? Suppose I have 2 by 3i, this kind. How do we deal with this? In the denominator, if I have I can take it to the numerator. How do I take it to the numerator? I multiply the numerator and denominator by I. So I multiply the numerator by I and I multiply the denominator also by I. So this becomes 2i by 3i square. And you know that I square is minus 1. So this becomes 2i by minus 3, which can also be written as minus 2/3 I. Okay. So this is how we deal with uh, numbers where I is in the denominator. Okay. Where the imaginary part is in the denominator. Suppose I have a number like I to the power of minus 7. Then how do I deal with it? I write 1 by I to the power of 7 and I get I to the power of 7 can be written as 2 into 3 plus 1. So 1 by I square cube into I to the power of 1. So 1 by I square you know is minus 1 whole cube into I. So this will become minus 1 by I. Okay, this is how we deal with negative powers. Now see here minus 1 by I we have got. Normally we don't keep I in the denominator. We always try to keep I in the numerator. So again if I want to work
numerator.
further with this, so I'll multiply the numerator and denominator by I. So I'll get minus I by I square. So I get minus I by minus 1. So this simply becomes I. Understood? So this is how we deal with negative powers and this is how we deal with fractions which contain the imaginary part in the denominator. So any number which contains I is called an imaginary number. Okay. So that is what, and there are some very simple problems here. I'm sure you can go through these. Not much is required here. Okay, let's move on to this exercise here. Okay, and let me work out one power that is huge. I to the power of I to the power of I don't know 23. How do you deal with this? So I to the power of I first write as 2 into what is the quotient when you divide 23 by 2? The quotient when you divide 23 by 2 is 11. So 2 into 11 will give you 22 and you need to add a 1. 1 is the remainder. Okay. So now you can write this as I square to the power of 11 into I. I square is minus 1 to the power of 11 into I. And minus 1 to the power of 11, negative power raised to an odd power will give you a negative. So minus 1 into I, which is minus I. Okay. So that is how you deal with this. Now look at number 19. This was number 16, I guess. Look at number 19. In number 19, you have square root of minus 7 by 4 minus root over of minus 1 by 7. Okay. So how do you deal with this? You write minus 7 by 4 as 7 by 4 into minus 1, and you write minus 1 by 7 as 1 by 7 into minus 1. Now you can separate this. You can write this as root 7 by 4 into root minus 1 minus root 1 by 7 into root minus 1. And you know root minus 1 is iota. So you can write this as root 7 by 4 I minus root 1 by 7 I. Okay, now you can take these, take common. I root 7 by 4 minus root 1 by 7. Okay, now what you can do is you can take LCM. You can write this as root 7 by root 4 minus 1 by root 7. This is just simplifying. I root 7 by 2 minus 1 by root 7. Now you can take the LCM to root 7. So you get 7 minus 2. So you get 5I by 2 root 7. Okay. So that is how you simplify this expression. Let us move on to the next one. Um, the next one is, I think I'll do, no, most are not visible. I to the power of 18. Yes, this one, number 24. I to the power of 18 plus 1 by I to the power of 25 whole cube. You need to find out the value of this. So take step by step. Reduce the power of I to its lowest power. I to the power of 18. I square 9. Okay. Plus this can be written as 1 by I to the power of 25 whole cube. Okay. So this is,
Sir,
yes.
Miss was saying that we will get a report card on 16.
Who's saying? Who's
Report,
saying?
ma'am.
Okay. I think you'll get yes. Yes, you'll get I have
Oh,
not.
but we have
Mhm.
test. No, but we have test on 15 of economics. Then how Miss will give our marks?
No, so 15 marks will be recorded. No problem.
No, no. I'm saying that on 15,
Mm.
okay, we have test of two chapters. So will that will be recorded?
Yes,
Because
of
on
course.
16 we will get a report card,
That is, and
and
of course,
15.
because see, any test that is taken before 16 can be added, because this time the tests are not offline, so that you have a, a complete
No.
deadline. Okay, that till
Yes, sir.
this is your schedule, this is your, after this you cannot have this. So any test taken before 16 can be included. Okay, now the point is, you must ask the teacher also, subject teacher, that till what exam are you including the marks. That is something that you can do, because had it been an on-site test in school, then you would have had a schedule, you would have a, then your normal things, that only till this date you will have your exams, after this you will not have. So this time all the rules have been broken.
Because of coronavirus.
Now I to the power of 25 can be written as I, 25, if you divide by 2, you'll get 12 as your quotient and 1 as your remainder. So that is why I wrote this as 2 into 12 plus 1. So now this can be written as I square to the power of 12 into I whole cube. So this is minus 1 plus 1 by I square is minus 1 power of 12 into I whole cube. So this is minus 1 plus minus 1 to the power of 12 is plus 1 by I whole cube. Okay, now what you do is you're getting a 1 by I, so you take I to the numerator. So inside this bracket, what you do is you multiply here numerator and denominator by I. Okay, so you get minus 1 plus I by I square whole cube. So this you get minus 1 minus I whole cube. Okay, so this is minus 1 plus I whole cube. Okay, so now if I'm taking this minus sign out, I'll simply be left with minus 1 plus I whole cube. Because see, with a minus sign you have an odd power, so that minus sign will remain. Now I'll expand this by a minus b whole cube formula. Keeping the negative sign outside, I have a cube plus b cube plus thrice ab into a plus b. Okay, so I have minus 1 plus I cube is I square into I. This can be written as plus 3I plus 3I square, which is equal to minus 1 plus I square is minus 1 plus 3I, and 3I square is minus 1. So 1 minus I plus 3I minus 3. Okay, so this is now if you simplify within the brackets, you get minus of 2I minus 2, which can be written as minus 2I plus 2, which is 2 minus 2I. Okay, so this is how you simplify. Now this, what you get here, see, this is an actual complex number. Okay, this is what an actual complex number looks like. Okay, an actual complex number looks like a plus ib. Okay, I will come to this representation a little later. But remember that a complex number looks in this manner: 2 minus 2i. This part is called the real part, and this part minus 2i is called the imaginary part. Okay, so imaginary numbers are different from complex numbers. Imaginary numbers are part of complex numbers. Okay, let us do the last one, number 27. These are not too important here. It's just come in your IC. So let's do this. Yes, Mr. Gupta.
Yes, sir.
What happened? Where do you disappear suddenly?
Sir, one day only, sir.
Huh? One day?
Yes. Sir.
One day?
Yes, sir. Monday, sir.
Only one day? Tuesday you were there?
Yesterday, sir.
Huh?
So yesterday, sir.
So 27 here is prove the following. So we start with them from the left hand side. LHS is equal to x plus 1 plus I, x plus 1 minus I, x minus 1 plus I, and x minus 1 minus I. You need to prove that this is equal to x to the power of 4 plus 4. Now what you do here is, for the first expression, you write this expression as, you separate x plus 1 and you write the real part and the imaginary part separately. Here also, you write it in this manner. Here also, you write it in this manner. And here, you write it in this manner. Okay. So now see here, if you take this as A and this as B, this becomes A plus B. If you take this as A and this as B, this becomes A minus B. And what is A plus B into A minus B? It is A square minus B square. So therefore, if you combine these two, this becomes A square, that means x plus 1 square minus B square. B square is I square. Similarly, if you see this, if you take this as A and this as B, then this becomes A plus B. Similarly, this becomes A minus B. So this now can be written as A square minus B square. X minus 1 whole square minus I square. So this becomes, now you expand, or maybe I square you write as minus 1 first. Okay. Now what should I do with this? Now there's nothing to do except multiply. And how do you multiply these two expressions? You multiply x plus 1 whole square into x minus 1 whole square. You multiply separately, plus then x plus 1 whole square you multiply with 1. That means these two you multiply first. Then you multiply x plus 1 into this. Then you multiply this 1 with this. You simply get x minus 1 whole square. And then you multiply this 1 with this 1. So you get plus 1 into 1, which is 1. Now this one can be written as x plus 1 whole square into x minus 1 whole square can be written as x plus 1 into x minus 1 whole square, plus this is a plus b plus a minus b whole square. And if you remember the formula, if you don't, then please memorize this, that a plus b whole square plus a minus b whole square is always equal to twice of a square plus b square. Please memorize this formula. Okay, if you memorize, it will give you a lot of advantage in future. So this is twice of, if you see, this is a plus b into a minus this, and this is a minus b. So this becomes a plus b whole square form, and this becomes a minus b whole square form. And you know that a plus b plus a minus b whole square is twice of a square plus b square. And then here x is a and b is 1. So twice of a square plus b square plus 1. So the next step will be, you what are you left with here? You are left with x plus 1 into x minus 1 will give you x a square minus b square, or let me write 1 only, whole square, plus 2x square plus 2 plus 1. Now you expand this by a minus b whole square formula. A square minus 2ab plus b square plus 2x square plus 3. This becomes x to the power of 4 minus 2x square plus 2x square plus 4. These two cancel. You simply get x to the power of 4 plus 4, which is what you wanted to prove, RHS. Okay. Any questions? No questions? Then you move on to the properties of complex numbers. Now, before I move on to the properties, let me define what a complex number is. Till now, we have been dealing with imaginary numbers. Complex numbers are actually two-dimensional numbers. Wow, what do you mean by two-dimensional numbers? For example, a real number is represented on a number line, right? It can be represented on a number line. So this is a one real numbers are one-dimensional numbers. They can only be represented on a single line. Complex numbers, on the other hand, can be represented on a surface. Not surface, in fact, can be represented on a plane. It can be represented on an XY plane. Okay, and such representation of complex numbers are called Argand diagram. Okay, in Argand diagram, we represent complex numbers in the XY plane, but we'll come to that a little later. What you must know is that the complex numbers are actually two-dimensional numbers that consist of that are of the form a plus ib. Okay, where I is square root of -1. Okay, here we say that a is the real part and complex numbers are represented by z. Okay, they are represented by z. They are represented by z. So if I say let z is equal to a plus ib, if I say let z is equal to a plus ib, that means a here is called the real part of z, and we write rez, real part of z, is equal to a. And I say that the imaginary part of z, imz, is equal to b. So the real part of z is a and the imaginary part of z is b. In the complex number, z is equal to a plus ib. Okay. Now if a is equal to 0, then what does it become? Z is equal to ib. So we say that z is purely imaginary. Okay. If b is equal to 0, then z becomes a real number. Okay. If b is equal to 0, that means if the imaginary part is 0, that means z becomes a real number. So in fact, any real number can be expressed as a complex number. If I'm talking about a number 23, this number is real, but it can also be represented as a complex number as 23 plus 0i. Okay. So any real number can be represented as a complex number also. And if both a and b are 0, then what happens? Then what happens? Z becomes equal to 0. So we call this as a 0. Uh, yes, it becomes 0 simply. Z becomes 0. Now next we come to properties. If you see, the properties are listed here in the book, not too difficult properties, very easy to remember. That a real number cannot be equal to imaginary number. They have given the proof, no need to remember the proof. Then just remember that any real number cannot be equal to an imaginary number. Only an imaginary number can be equal to an imaginary number. Okay. Next is if a plus ib is 0. Second property, if a plus ib, that is if the complex number z is 0, if a plus ib is 0, then it simply means a plus ib can be written as 0 plus 0i. Okay. Or you can say, instead of 0 plus 0, let's write directly. If the complex number a plus ib is 0, then it means that a and b are identically 0. Both are 0, a and b. Next, property 3. Okay. Now, if two complex numbers are there which are equal, suppose a plus ib is the same as x plus iy, then we can equate the real part separately and the imaginary part separately. So a must be equal to x and b must be equal to y. That means the imaginary parts are equal. Okay, so if any two complex numbers are equal, then I can equate the imaginary parts and equate the real parts. Okay, so these were some of the properties, and with this idea I shall start some sums, maybe two sums. Argon diagram, I'll do Argon diagram tomorrow. Let me do one or two sums from your exercise. Okay, I don't see an exercise that is deal with all this. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll continue with the explanation. I don't see any problem that relates to this. Okay, so in fact, I can see an example, a worked out example. So let us try to understand this example. The question here is write the values of x and y if. So given here is 3 minus 4i into x plus iy is equal to 1, say. Okay, then what should be the values of x and y? So what you do here is you multiply the left hand side, and when you see this product, you try to express this as in the form a plus ib, this product. But before that, you need to multiply this. So 3x you multiply, 3x plus 3yi minus 4xi minus 4yi square is equal to 1. That means 3x plus 3yi minus 4xi, and I square is minus 1. That means you get 3x. Now you take the i's together. So 3y minus 4x I have taken together, and this becomes plus 4y is equal to 1. Now you take 3x plus 4y, this is the real part, you take together, okay, and you take the imaginary part together. 3y minus 4x I is equal to, now 1 on the right hand side, because you have a complex number on the left hand side. Okay, this number can be written as 1 plus 0i. As I told you, any real number can be expressed as a complex number. 1 plus 0i. Now also using another property, now I can say the real parts are equal and the imaginary parts are equal. So therefore 3x plus 4y must be equal to 1, and 3y minus 4x must be equal to 0. So these two are your simultaneous equations, okay, which you can solve to get x is equal to 3 by 25. And you get y is equal to 4 by 25. Okay, so the property that I have used here is that any real number can be expressed as a complex number, and that when two complex numbers are equal, the real parts are equal and the imaginary parts are equal. So these two properties of complex numbers I have used. So any questions related to complex numbers till this part?